Welcome all to August 7th Wilton Town Board meeting. We'll start with a public hearing and 248 Ruggles Road demolition. Anybody signed up to speak? No. Anybody in the audience like to speak about it?
Let's hold off on this. Is this the one we had to hold off on?
Close public hearing. Got a second? Second. In favor? Aye. Opposed? Let's start the regular meeting. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Should we leave that public hearing open? Because we can't move on that. Correct. So should we leave the public hearing open? Or close it and then once we know the next of kin, have another one? Because there's nothing we can do.
I thought once you close it, you have to act.
I thought we closed it.
Do you know who the next of kin is? And I've spoken, actually, she has a power of attorney. I'm just waiting for her to present us with the power of attorney within a letter on her intent for the property.
Okay, so they were aware of the public...
Verbally told me they're not going to do anything with the house. They're not cleaning it up.
So they were aware of the public hearing, so that opportunity was out there. Okay, thank you.
Is the owner deceased?
The owner, the actual owner is deceased.
Okay, because a POA expires upon the expiration of the individual who executed the POA. I don't want to step in for counsel, but I'm pretty sure that's correct.
But the power of attorney is for Betty Jo Brooks, who was the wife of the deceased
who would inherit the property.
But like Mark said last month, that her name was not on any of it.
Yeah.
So do we...
So I think we need to wait till Mark is here.
I think we leave it open, right?
I would leave it.
If we
Yeah, I would think
close it,
so.
we have to act.
Yeah.
If I am correct, right?
Can't act on it.
Rescind my motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second his rescission.
All in favor?
Hi.
Okay.
Next.
Is Mark coming?
Roll call, please.
Sorry.
She's befuddled.
Had questions.
Supervisor Grant?
Here.
Deputy Supervisor McCaffrey?
Here.
Councilman Bogardus?
Here.
Councilwoman Culligan?
Here.
Councilman O'Connor?
Here.
Thank you. Anybody signed up to speak?
No.
This is nice.
You had a chance to read last month's minutes, and somebody want to make a motion to accept them?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I have a proclamation for John Jack O'Brien. I've known him for 40 years. John knows him. He passed away in 23. He was a true patriot, true American. Fought in the Korean War. A man of great integrity, morals, and values. Jack was one of a kind, and I'm going to have the county honor him the 19th for the deceased veteran of the month. So I just thought it'd be nice if our town board did it here.
It's a great idea.
Did you read the proclamation, Sue?
Whereas America was founded on the principles of liberty, opportunity, and justice for all, and we recognize the men and women of our armed forces who have valiantly defended these values through our nation's history. These remarkable individuals have helped us make our nation secure and to advance the cause of freedom worldwide. By answering the call of duty and risking their lives to protect their fellow countrymen, these patriots have inspired our nation with their courage, compassion, and dedication. Whereas John Jack O'Brien was born on September 23, 1929 in Brooklyn, New York, and had been a resident of the town of Wilton. And whereas John O'Brien entered the U.S. Army on January 5, 1949, he served as a communications chief with the B Battery 68th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Gun Battalion. And whereas John O'Brien and the 68th AABN shipped out of Fort Lewis, Washington State in July 1950 and landed in Korea in September 1950, where they held the distinction of the 1st Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion to fire in combat in Korea. And whereas John O'Brien served our country honorably in Korea and was released from active duty and discharged on January 4th, 1952, reaching the rank of Technical Sergeant. And whereas through the years, our veterans have returned home from their duties to become active, responsible citizens in their communities, further contributing to the growth and development of our nation. John O'Brien worked for New York Telephone Company and retired as the Northeast Area Director of Communications Workers of America. And whereas Jack O'Brien was laid to rest on December 6, 2023 in the Gerald B. H. Solomon Saratoga National Cemetery in Schuylerville, New York at the age of 94. And whereas the town of Wilton honors the memory of John O'Brien for his activities as a veteran and an outstanding member of the community, now thereof be it proclaimed that the 7th day of August 2025 is hereby dedicated to the memory of John O'Brien in grateful recognition on behalf of the town of Wilton.
Thank you. Do I need a motion on that? Do I need a motion on it? Right. Catherine, you want to talk about Smith Bridge Road?
Love to. So I am going to bring my mouse up to zoom in because my computer has no time to argue. But I will just give some sets in case anyone wants to run through them. I did have a question as if people would like some final report and plans printed and mailed here. So if you would like a final copy, let me know and I'll have some printed and shipped up here. But I will go through it on the screens. It's easier for me to zoom in and go. So just for the record, my name is Catherine Sarah, and I'm a senior civil engineer and project manager at CT Mail. CT Mail was originally retained in early 2000s to facilitate the emergency repair of failure of the outlet pipe for the spillway for the dam. Some people are aware that there is a dam kind of in the middle of the road. There's that small impoundment on the north side of the road and flows down. That is a low hazard dam regulated by New York State. So we originally were hired to do that work in 2004. Ryan asked me to perform last summer an inspection of the dam. That's on file. We determined that there are potentially some maintenance issues, some issues with the road and the condition of the dam in this area. You can see the road cracking on the bend. But why I'm here today is we were retained by the town board to look at options for widening the road. And I do want to emphasize that kind of over the scope of our review of this project, we did look at options for widening, really looking at more safety, pedestrian safety issues. We just want to make it clear that what we're recommending is not a 5-foot wide, ADA compliant, we'll say sidewalk, or in some cases municipalities are putting multi-use trails. While that's great, it's great for the residents and pedestrians, there is not enough right-of-way in order to do that. So I went back to Mike and Ryan, and we agreed that the scope of the work would be to add a 3-foot paved shoulder on both sides of the road. Right now, there is no road shoulder. If you drive down the road, you've got that white line and you got lawn. We feel that even that 3-foot would provide some level of additional attempt at pedestrian safety for people who do choose to walk the road. Plus the fact that there is no shoulder, which really isn't recommended by modern highway standards to begin with. So these are preliminary plans. And really the basis of this was to take a look at, can we do it? Are there any conflicts? And how much is it going to cost, right? So in general, we can widen the road, 3 feet on either side, really without substantial changes to the road for the majority of the road. There are a few cases where we would need to shift alignment. This is a National Grid power easement. We will need to move the road to the north because there is a significant drop off in the culvert in the area. Again, no issues with that. If you actually open the plan, you'll see my key down here. I have kind of red circles. And this is really where we encounter utility poles. National Grid has the poles in your right-of-way, and the widened road will be too close to the existing poles such that we would need to ask Grid to move them. So that's always a fun discussion with National Grid, but it's their poles. So again, I'm just going down the road, and you can just see that it really, again, we have a full survey, a full boundary survey, a full right-of-way survey. We don't have any issues with right-of-way, which is really good. Sometimes when we do these plans, we find that in some municipalities, we found that the town doesn't even know the road. We found that out in Stillwater a few decades ago. There's a town road that Stillwater doesn't even know, so that was interesting. So I do want to focus on the intersection with Cider Mill Way and then moving on to the dam. We all know that that intersection can be problematic. We did do an evaluation of the available site distance. It does meet the applicable site distance. Turning for a posted speed. The posted speed is 40. We did it for 45 miles an hour. So it's close, but it meets it, which is good for you as a town. There's documentation now that the intersection meets applicable highway design regulations. That doesn't really matter, right? One of the good things about this is when the subdivision of Cider Mill Way occurred and these kind of newer homes were built, there is a significantly wider right-of-way in this area. You can actually see it with my hand. So we are able to lengthen the radius of the curve to make it a little less severe, a horizontal method. We feel that this would improve site distance. One of the main issues of this intersection is the hill. Unfortunately, there's buried sewer and water, and there needs to be an amount of cover over these utilities in order to meet code that we really wouldn't recommend you significantly trying to cut down that vertical curve. Maybe in design you could catch a few inches, maybe catch a half a foot here, but we don't want to all of a sudden have our water mains be, 3 feet of cover and have freezing issues. So I do think that this is a positive finding that we can do something. It's not going to be perfect, the curve will still be there, but we are able to provide some level of mitigation by doing that. And we would also shift the road to the south, closer to that property. Again, it's fully within the right-of-way, and that's the case. So let's talk about the dam, because what this does is this makes our project rather expensive. Again, I'm sure many people don't realize that that's a regulated dam by New York State. There's a pond over there, there's a culvert going through it. Kind of a lot of town roads that have that, right? So we need to be really careful when we talk about proposing a widening of a road where it goes over the top of the dam. So kind of cut to the chase, get one of our geotechnical engineers really run some numbers, because by widening the road, the embankment, so the slopes on the side become steeper. There are regulations for dams that apply to slope stability. We don't want there to be an event. We do look at global slope stability, we do look at earthquakes, we do look at what's called a rapid drawdown of the impoundment behind it, all things that can make a slope unstable. We determined that the slope is essentially unstable today to look at all of the current New York State DEC dam safety requirements. I want to preface that with most dams don't meet these requirements fully. So it's not like I'm saying the dam has to be upgraded tomorrow. If you are to do a project to upgrade the dam, you would need to do some significant regrading of the embankment. You would need to raise the embankment up a few feet to meet some of these DEC regulations. Again, most dams in New York State need to do this. So one of the issues that comes to when you're trying to widen the road is really Army Corps of Engineers and DEC regulations really prohibit you filling in water bodies. I work in the dam safety sector a lot. I am able to get permits with the state to do some fill of water bodies if you're talking about a dam safety issue. The plan we have here does not result in any fill of the impoundment on the north side of the road, and it results in some minor impacts to the creek on the south side of the road. We did look at other options that would be cheaper, and they would fill in part of the creek, but you can't do that. So we kind of looked at it and went, it's an option that's cheaper in theory, but it's never going to get permitted by the state. So we ended up actually only having one recommended option. I was hoping to provide several options. We really only had one that worked. And what that proposal for the dam, and I'll pull a section here, would be, can I just focus on this? So here's the road section. This would be you driving the creeks to your right, the impoundments to your left. We're gonna do all the road work on the south side of the road. Again, we don't want to touch that impoundment. So what we're proposing to do is we have to raise the road up about 2.5 to 3 feet to meet current slope stability standards. We also need to widen the road 6 feet for another side. So what we're proposing is actually a retaining wall. And what that does is we actually build that on the downstream side of the embankment. And then in order to meet this elevation requirement that I keep speaking to, we can either raise the road even more, or we can actually extend the retaining wall structurally such that it actually acts as the top of the dam. So right now the top of the dam is the asphalt. The top of the dam will actually be the top of the cantilever wall. It is a little bit of an exception that we had permitted before with New York State DEC Dam Safety Division. That would save you a lot of money here. So we actually now, instead of needing to raise the road up 3 feet, we're only raising it up 6 inches. So that's a significant amount of fill that you're not paying for. Still expensive, but we're hoping we can give you 2 options for upgrades to the dam. And we kind of really just decided we're not going to give you an option that we know isn't going to work or is going to be exceedingly expensive. I'm sure Maria is going to say, what are you doing here, Catherine? So we're confident with the modeling we've done that we've kind of moved to this recommendation that would work if you were to widen the road. And I'll kind of go back to that plan. One of the things I want to emphasize is if you're going through the effort of widening the road, do you want to not widen it over the dam? That is really going to be an honest conversation you're going to have. Because as you go past the dam, and I'll just go to the next sheet that kind of comes in at the intersection of Jones Road, it's kind of by the farm here. Other than some trees, which could be trimmed, they're again on the town right away, they're not privately owned trees. Really, the issue is Cider Mill Way and the dam from a engineering, construction, and cost perspective. I do want to kind of zoom in on the road section. Ryan, Mike, and I kind of went through it. So obviously we want to create a paved shoulder on both sides of the road. So my budget does include adding a top course overlay to the entire length of the road. If you're going to go out there and do all the expense of designing this, we should give you a new road. So the cost, the budget does include a top course of overlay on the road, just to let you know. We can obviously take that out, but we kind of look at that as really not the best idea if you're going to go in and do all this work on the road. Why not overlay some asphalt to give it another additional 10 to 20 years of life? So cost. In short, and we are using New York State DOT pricing. This would be a publicly bid project. I really don't think Highway Crew is going to do this work. It's pretty substantial. So we're going off of DOT bid, which is generally reflective. They do averages every rolling category every few months that reflect bids across New York State. So we do obviously weigh it for Saratoga County, New York. We are proposing a 2026 construction. And our estimate does include the remainder of the engineering. This is a very, very good start. We have a full land survey, boundary survey. There would need to be some additional engineering detail that would have to be done. The work on the dam does add a layer of complexity with a pretty significant additional design and review process with New York State DEC Dam Safety, so that is reflected in the cost. And
Brace yourself, Maria.
just other items is, we assumed that it's being constructed by a hired contractor, that the highway crews would kind of oversee the work. However, on the dam itself, New York State DEC mandates that when work is done on the dam, that it has to be under the direct supervision of a licensed professional engineer. So I am including time for oversight on my part, plus time to have full-time construction observation. Now, to be honest, it adds up. So I do want to kind of go through some of these soft costs that sometimes get forgotten, and then all of a sudden they add up and make your project more expensive. So in total, we're estimating a $1.35 million project.
It's actually
The dam itself,
I thought it was gonna be a lot more
sorry,
than that.
sorry, 2.5.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, I was like, I thought that was over
Portion
two.
of the dam is
Just
1.3.
went up in like 30 seconds.
Roadway outside of the dam is 1 million. So just for numbers, the small section that's on the dam is costing almost 120% more than the rest of the road. And that is...
But that dam's failing right now.
The dam would need some attention.
Right.
I'm never gonna say a dam is failing until I
No,
know
but-
that it's failing.
I know, the side of it's kind
We
of,
see
It is.
the road's opening.
You
crowning.
notice there is cracking on the road.
Yeah, the road's
Red
opening
light
up.
when we went out there last summer, and my observation in the safety inspection, which, you know, you can have copies of, was that you need to continue monitoring that. My suspicion is, historically, before everyone decided to put a dam here, because that's what people did back 100 years ago, is you had a pond of water, let's make it bigger, was closer to Cider Mill Way. This is where we're having the cracking. You can see it. You don't need to be an engineer to know what's going on. Is we suspect that this was the natural drainage course through here. And it was filled up with whatever they used at the time. And then for some reason, they decided to put the outlet way over here, next to one of Vinjec's, property here, and that's that newer spillway. So when CT Mill did the work back in 2004, 2005, this was to address the failure of that. So for budget reasons, we didn't analyze and start looking at this area here. So again, my suspicion is that there is some level of seepage. Dams are built to not only retain water, but also safely pass it through. They're kind of an oxymoron in that sense. So a lot of that settlement and road cracking is here. We also identified that, on average, the existing road has 3 inches of asphalt, except this section has 7.5. So it's been repaved many, many times. So our recommendation is to kind of keep looking at this. At some point, you're going to have to address the issues. This project does address those issues. So I look at this as there is a need to address the issues on Smith Ridge Road from a lack of shoulder standpoint. It's not full pedestrian accommodation, it's not a sidewalk. We're not able to recommend that route. Do you just widen the road and leave the dam? I generally offer up, let's do the whole project, we're gonna go through having this in your budget and bidding it. A lot of your, D.A. Collins, TKC, Kubrookie, Malloy, those are your big paving contractors, they also do a lot of dam work. So it is, sometimes when you have projects that include many different things. Sometimes you bid them separately because a paving contractor isn't wanting to do work in a dam. In this case, I'd be comfortable recommending, if you chose to proceed with construction, actually bidding this as one job, because again, those bigger local companies would be able to do everything. This was something smaller, you could consider possibly having your highway crews do the paving. I mentioned it to Mike, he didn't look interested. But I always offer that up, whether they're here or not, because it's a reality.
He made it clear, he would block the road, but that's as far as he wants to go.
So a lot of, I'm very comfortable with this budget. We do a lot of work in the dam safety arena. I utilized a significant amount of bids and prices we've gotten over the past year. So if there's any questions about specific line items, about, how do we build it, you'd have to shut down part of the road. Or you have questions about how much it costs, just let me know or give me a call later if you have more questions.
Can I ask a couple now?
Yeah, that's why Ryan asked me to come.
Yeah. Whose dam is it?
Ours.
Town.
It is the
We own
town, but it's
Saratoga water.
overlooked at by Saratoga, by DEC.
We only get to pay for the
So
problems.
the town is responsible for the dam, you're considered the owner. You're say DEC.
When the water flows out,
Regularly.
And then the city below
that
it,
property.
that needs to look very late.
Right. When you were talking about
We put a water meter on?
doing that wall, that could bring it up 3 feet, does that help eliminate that hill?
Yep, it will.
It would bring it up, kind of level that out a little bit more.
Question, so it's not gonna
More
level out the hill
tapered.
at Cider Mill.
6 inches
It's
at the
going
bottom.
to make
Says something about a couple of feet.
dip less, there will be some fill in this area. Because right now you come off Cider Mill and you kind of go down, or
Yeah.
you're going the other way, you go up.
At one point you said 3 feet you could build it up.
Correct, I need to raise the road up 3 feet, and I can either do it by raising the road, or I can raise the road a little bit and kind of have that,
Right.
that structure.
Yeah.
Which would be the,
Would that, and that's my question, does the structure come up above the road grade? So it's like a little wall
Yeah.
instead of a
guardrail.
guardrail? It would be almost like a stone.
We
Looking like a
more than
bridge.
likely,
Huh?
And retain water.
It looks like a bridge.
if we had like a catastrophic flood. So like,
Right.
we're talking like Noah's Ark flood comes and parks itself over Wilton and rains forever, the water will go over the road. this is accounting for earthquakes in a worst-case scenario. So all the dam design is really like worst case.
Right.
But if we do this work, people are gonna be driving down and be like, that's weird, there's like something sticking up from the side of the road. Right now, there's a guardrail. We could also look to integrate something that's like a handrail or something that isn't, frankly, what we're proposing to you isn't the prettiest, but when we have budgets, we're not gonna propose the sheet pile.
Sure. But there is the option of bringing it up 3 feet.
You can physically raise the road up 3 feet. We are not recommending that.
Okay.
Because I already think the work on the dam makes this project very expensive.
Okay.
By doing what I just described, I think it makes it prohibitively expensive.
Okay.
Meaning, there's no engineering reason to, it's an option, but we didn't even propose that to you because we knew it would be so much more expensive. We'd have to build a wall regardless. It's whether the wall stops at the top of the road and we fill the road, or whether we don't fill the road and we extend the wall up. It's kind of a no-brainer.
Now, how far is the wall going to come up?
It's going to be about 2 to 2.5 feet, depending on where you're on the road.
It would be.
So it actually acts like a guide rail, and you can make sure that when it goes into design, that it's traffic rated. It's going to look a little different, but sometimes we have to propose something that
Kind of
like.
look like a bridge.
We'll paint some
Right,
silver
but we'll be
stripes
like
on
a
the
little
side.
more aesthetically, actually. It might
Yes.
be kind of
Yeah, so we're.
nice, rather than a guardrail that you feel like you're gonna go through.
I mean, it's still sheet piles, it's just exposed steel, so there are ways
Oh, I
to make it look a
gotcha.
little
Okay.
Oh, it's
less,
not going to be block, it'll be steel.
but.
I was thinking it was like a wall, like solid. I was thinking more solid
It's corrugated.
or
sheet
poured.
vinyl.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Oh,
like
okay.
siding.
Yeah, I was thinking like a
And you
block
just-
type.
I thought it was
Bridge.
poured.
Paint some
Yeah.
guardrail
It's a
stripes
really
on the
ugly
side
bridge,
of
and
it.
More
that's the
like
best way to
stone.
describe it.
So you get your horizontal restraints.
Paint it black and then put some guardrail. Paint it, it'll look just like a guide rail.
No one will difference.
No one will know the difference.
And where that water flows out, that property is owned by the city of Saratoga Springs to Loughbury Lake Road. I contacted the mayor from Saratoga, told me, we're protecting your water, so we had a meeting with me and Ryan, some of their people. They are trying to get a joint grant to help us on the cost. I don't know where it stands, but I talked to him last week, and he said they're still working on it.
We're going to put a water meter in there.
I actually,
But I think the point that Supervisor's making is, I have a lot of conversations with dam owners now, because we're kind of in year 20 of some newish state regulations, and there are many owners of dams that are like, why are we doing this? I'm working for Putnam County right now to decommission some of their dams that are absolutely useless. I'm not recommending that here, but sometimes when we do these evaluations, we do look at a decommissioning. It doesn't mean you're fully taking out the dam, it means that you're lowering the road to a height where it's no longer big enough to be regulated by the state. So really, the state regulates dams if they're a certain height and impoundment. They're not gonna regulate some 100-foot height puddle. It's gotta be pretty
if we
large.
lower
But
it,
I
we can
would
certainly get
imagine though,
Saratoga
if
to
it's
kick in.
feeding Saratoga their water, they're gonna be involved.
If we were to try to
No matter what,
remove the dam,
yeah.
Then they
I
get their
would-
attention,
think that the city probably wouldn't be very happy with it. Not speaking
and they
for the
might want to
city,
kick in some more money.
But that's
Or some period,
something
yeah.
that can be used as like a, hey, by the way, because this serves no
Who's gonna be in that
purpose
meeting?
alone.
You were in that
No,
meeting?
it doesn't.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think we really have many choices. This area is.
No, but I think Saratoga should absolutely kick it.
And I think we need to move forward whether we can get help from Saratoga or not.
Oh,
Let's not say that out
I think
loud.
we have to do this.
Don't put that in the meeting.
Strike that from the-
Strike that from the minutes.
In the minutes.
So from the perspective of what you're
Well,
talking about in
we're gonna
terms
put a
of,
water meter.
allocating budget.
I know if there's any way possible, the mayor will
Yeah.
Yeah.
help us.
And actually,
This road has been.
the numbers that I was told were
Albatross.
a lot higher than that. So
Yeah, no,
I expected it to be.
yeah.
We didn't get the good.
And to be fair, we're giving you something that is simple. We're widening the road to be on the other side. That part of it is nothing special. It isn't, because we did kind of do that high level once we got the survey back and just went, how are we gonna fit this in? I mean, we'd be running through people's driveways more than you already would. Think about every driveway along the way is gonna have 3 feet that we're gonna have to blend in. Everyone's mailbox is gonna have to go back. Every street sign is gonna have to go back. We're gonna have to remind her to, move their poles, which
Tell them to move them.
could be,
Well, I know when that barn was removed, we were supposed to get more.
But we will have to do that, or we won't have to do
We
that?
do have all the right of way in front.
Grid has
We got a
poles
lot.
in your right of way.
Right.
If you are doing a road improvement project, they're supposed to move them and not charge you,
As long as they move them in the right of way.
as long as they
Take
move
some of
in
the
the right
lawns.
of way.
Yeah, but we don't need to go back.
But are we infringing on any
But
homeowners?
we don't have to.
No.
It's not, okay.
No, because when they took that
That was
barn
the
down,
point
we
you were
got more
making.
right away
I
down.
was on the planning board
No,
when it
when-
happened.
There's
That's why we did it,
absolutely no
because they're supposed to
homeowner
straighten the road out.
right-of-way
No, we got the right of way from
Yeah,
Belmonte.
Yeah.
Yep,
He,
that's right, he bought.
he transferred it.
Yeah.
We got the good land instead of the wetland in the
So
back.
there is one caveat though about poles that I didn't say anything that I really should have said. So there's 4 poles across the dam right now. You
Dwayne can
can't have-
hit them.
You can't have utility poles in embankments. It's a source of failure. So if we were to do this dam upgrade, I'm actually recommending those poles go away, which Grid is gonna have an absolute.
Oh, nice.
But I'll put on my dam safety engineer hat. That's not a safe condition today. Now, there are many dams that CT Mills worked on that are roads over dams. There's utility poles. But if CT Mills is gonna design this project, upgrade your dam and, basically now make it last another 50 to 100 years, those utility poles are going away. So Grid needs to understand that they need to be a partner with the town in this project. I understand it's frustrating for them to have to sit here and have this proposal in front of them to have some utility poles either be moved or they gotta think of something different. But that really is going to be
Those are high
the
floor.
agency that needs to be talked to sooner rather than later if the town wants to look at doing something construction-wise in the next year or two. Because they really could create a huge problem. You control every other part of the process. Other than DEC Dam Safety, who is one of the better state agencies to work with, you don't have any other, agencies. You have yourself, it's your town road, you have to deal with traffic issues and dealing with, the road work going on. But
We've been
that
working with-
should be that should be a zero cost, meaning it's not like this is going to add hundreds of thousands of dollars to the project.
Would it be zero cost if the utility poles are removed? I heard a little while ago it's a zero cost if they are moved to the right-of-way.
They're moved on the right of way further back from the road, yes.
They would have to probably
That's zero.
directional drill and go underground.
Or they could physically move the poles back 5 feet and still be in the right of way. That's their decision, whether if they stay bury it or whether they move the poles. Like
Just
that.
hire.
The recommendation would be to remove the ones near the dam, though.
Well, my recommendation is the ones in the dam can't, they
can't be there.
They
put
cannot be there.
They shouldn't have been there already.
For the rest of them along the way that we would be too close to when we widen it, they would
Gotcha.
just have to move the poles and put them back 5 feet, which I've seen them do.
Gotcha.
It's the structures in the dam that they're not gonna like. Because you can always take the stance, hey, our dam safety professional, DEC says these are potentially, when you put anything into an earthen embankment, like I said before, dams are unique that they hold back water, but water does seep through earth, right? You don't have to be an engineer to kind of, you've seen this, whether it's at the beach or whether it's on your property. It's controlled seepage. When you add things like water mains and sewers and
Telephone poles.
telephone poles, water finds a path of least resistance. So absolutely, if we're regrading it, they're not going to be put back in. That is my license, CT Mills license on the line. That is not going to happen. And that's where I think that there's going to be a little bit of that conversation that needs to happen. I think they're just going to assume that we do the work and come back in and put them back in. Even if we tell them they're blue in the face, I don't think they're going to fully understand it until we sit down with them and go, could they move it
Just
down
get that-
here? Sure.
Just
Move
get
it
that
down to the
company.
embankment where there's a lot of.
Just call
wetlands.
Queen, they'll get it.
City property. No, seriously, they could move them, put them down and just have the wire be higher. I don't know.
That'll be up to
They're the powerful engineers, not me. There is a way.
They're doing a lot of work on Route 9 currently. We've been talking to them for a year now, so they're working with us
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yep. Because I
One
always
more
like to
thing to add
say,
to the list.
work with those, like, for example, the city doesn't need to be involved unless we would like them to be involved.
We just want the money.
financially.
Water meter.
Water water meter.
How feasible is it that this would, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that is a go? And so how feasible is it that construction and everything, because this reflects 2026 prices?
Yep.
How feasible is it that the project would actually happen in 2026?
Sure, if you hired C2 Mill today to progress the design level drawings, I could have it ready for spring, early summer construction. DEC dam safety is about, it's about a 2 to 3 month window. The question might be is biologists at DEC, I'm sure you're aware that DEC recently changed their wetland regulations and made them more encompassing. That's made the biologist side of Region 5 be a little bit more busy, but DEC dam safety, they work through the permits. We do this all the time, we know exactly what to do. So it would be tight, but we absolutely could, if you let's theoretically hired us today to do the whole rest of the design. I'm not knowing how grid's gonna react. This could be a 2026 project, maybe later summer, like starting now, realistically with like bid times. But we're paving through till the middle of December nowadays. We just aren't getting those early colds. So that kind of has been buying me like 3 or 4 weeks at the back end of the fall.
I'd like to do it before, while school's out too, because that makes a big difference.
Yeah, we were discussing that because ideally this would be a summer project because I would say the best bet would be to close the road over the dam. It would be annoying for residents. I don't think
I live on
say
there.
that.
They can cut through Davidson. I actually don't know that it's going to be as impinging.
No, it'll be more the pass-through.
They're going to have to go the long way
Yeah,
around.
they're just gonna have to, right, they're gonna have to go to Northern Pines and come in that way rather than come down Smithburg
Car
Road.
road.
Even
So understanding the
safety.
school bus traffic, I do agree that it would be a summer job. It would be very, very tight to have this, there's no way this can be done in just the 10 weeks that there's no school.
Oh, no, I get that.
Well, actually, as far as school-wise, I don't think there's any school-age children past,
No, but the buses go in
My
and out
kids are
through
all on
there.
that road.
but the buses can still go around Northern Pines, so I don't think it's a major impact on the schools, because I don't believe there's any school-age kids from the dam to Jones Road.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not there.
Right, so we could shut it off at
Yeah, Davison Drive.
Davison Drive.
Yeah, I'm comfortable saying this is a 5 to 6 month construction project. Paving is easy. It's the dam itself is likely more of like a 3-month construction project, so we always want to be realistic that this is definitely not a multi-year project. You know, you could go in and do the dam and then do the paving, you know, do the dam over the summer and then you have fall paving. The paving would big boom. You get a good paving crew in there.
You
They're
Route
gonna have it
9
done
in
in a
2
week.
days.
Yeah, not even, one day.
Yeah. So, yes, it's doable. We have what we're, your question is obviously related to how we escalate prices. I do this all the
Correct, yes,
time.
thank
Before I was, past few years, we've definitely seen 6 to 7% escalation, especially with New York State prevailing wage rates. This past year, I'm only seeing 1 or 2% escalation. I carried 3%. Some municipalities I work for carry 5% year to year, which actually adds up. So we did 3%, but obviously you as a comptroller, you know, you're more in line with that. Just to let you know, we're not including any bonding costs. We're not doing any of that with regards to any paying over interest. This is just straight engineer's opinion of probable construction costs, including all the soft costs.
There must be some grants and stuff out there through the highway funds and stuff too.
Question related to grants. There's very few grants out there for dams.
Yeah,
There is?
There are a few grants out there, but they're only for high hazard dams.
right. Saratoga will be our grant.
So there's grants for everything except for dams.
Water source for the
I
city.
primarily work in water, sewer, and dams, and I get a lot of money for my water and sewer projects. Dams, I joke are this fictitious void, and what bothers me is that they are a lot of times water supply reservoirs. And you apply for a drinking water permit, and you literally put the word dam in the application, you're denied. And they tell me this. And I sit there going, this makes no sense. And they say, just, you know, so one of the frustrations I have in what I do is that I do public works engineering. You guys need grants to afford the projects I'm recommending, is that dams are just one of those where it's like, you just have to pay for it. You know, I do know that a lot of us have been a little bit more vocal with DEC, which is why they found some money for high hazard dams, but I really would be shocked if they ever start offering money for these Class A low hazard dams.
Even though it supplies water to the city of Saratoga.
Absolutely.
To 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Have you seen the new Northern Borders grant?
We've applied for a few, and they're categorically denied.
So it's for paving, I believe this
Oh,
year.
sorry, for dams, yes,
For paving.
but not for dams. And we
It's-
tried to sneak in
it
some.
just came out, so the new one.
Yep.
We're
Yep.
just not gonna pave over the dam.
We're stopping it there.
So I did want you to understand that, because a lot of municipalities, you're always
Our highway.
told, oh, grants, oh, your elected officials will tell them about grants, and it's great, and then they call me about a dam, and I go, sorry.
It just doesn't,
It's frustrating.
I get it if it's just a dam that lets water flow, but it's literally supplying water to an entire
Seems to
city.
me a dam would be more important than paving
Yeah,
as required.
as a water source,
So
for
it's
sure.
done right. Oh, well.
But again, you can build this project, you can just widen the road and just not widen it over the dam. It might look weird, I don't think Mike's okay with that, but there is a budget in there, it's $1 million just to widen it, and that $1 million does not include any paving on the dam. So if you're wondering, the 1 million even does not include the dam itself. Not that you want to do it, but it's always a question when people start asking about budgets.
We've had a lot of accidents there.
I feel like, yeah, if we widen the road, even if it's just the shoulder, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh wait, and then like build it back, like I think we're creating even a more dangerous situation
And
across
this-
that bridge.
Yeah, we've held a bunch of meetings on this, and that was one of the most talked about.
Right, we gotta build to the future. We can't build
Yeah.
today, we gotta build to the
So,
future.
and actually, I'm really happy with the numbers.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah, like I said, what we're giving you for the dam is not the prettiest option. It's kind of a cute little end run, but if I had gone with traditional options, I expect my estimate would be $500 million higher. So I think we're all okay with something that is a little unique.
Now, what's our next step?
This was a presentation,
Didn't plan on taking any action,
No.
but it's up to you. You want to discuss it some more?
I'm ready to take action and stuff, but
You can.
what?
It's up to you, but obviously,
if we want to try to get 2026, the quicker we respond.
No, I mean, we gotta do the set of public hearings, all that, I'm not sure.
So what I
Oh,
can
we don't.
offer
Oh.
is I can work up a proposal for design phase to get you from my preliminary, which
Maria, do we have enough money in the bank?
We do.
All right.
We do. It's not the money, it is the point that we're making about the escalation.
I think we should wait another
Sounds like
month and
something-
see if we get anything back.
Oh,
from
yeah,
the
well,
city to help
definitely,
us.
Saratoga should be,
But we could move
involved
forward
in
on
this.
design. Right, move forward
yeah,
on design.
this is exactly what I've been waiting for almost a year, so,
But we can move forward on design.
yeah, it's just,
So this way, there's no delay, we can start that process.
And then work on
And then
National
we
Grid
work
at the same
on
time in the city.
merits and stuff like that.
the financial part of it.
Right.
I'm sure.
This isn't like National Grid can't say
Let me make a
no.
motion, what you wanna do?
Like,
I wanna make a
can they?
motion to keep moving
Even
forward
if
on-
it's in the right of way?
So our
They can
next,
balk at it.
Got a second?
they
Yeah.
can.
right, our next step is to go to design, right?
so you'll give a proposal for design?
Yep, I'll work on a proposal for your first meeting in September. I do think, though, that I would suspect that you would direct Ryan to see if there could be a conversation with someone locally at Grid, just to let him know. I can just tell you, I've had really good experience with National Grid and some really, really bad ones to know that
I've had a lot of bad
they
ones.
could really have a problem.
We've been
with
helping
this.
them out quite a bit lately, so.
And that's fine, it's like me walking in, hey, I'm gonna move your utility poles, you'd be like, excuse me, I'm gonna move your house, you'd be like, no, you're not. You need to kind of have a conversation with them, explain what's going on, explain at the end of the day that the poles that we have to shift 5 feet because they're widening the road, that is not the issue here, they can do that. It's that they're gonna have to look at redesigning how they span the dam.
It's not three-phase, right? It's not three-phase.
Taller poles, longer wires.
But that conversation, not to throw more on your plate.
That might be
But that can happen while
might
you're
be
working
three-phase
on
coming
the
through
next
there.
design proposal
It's at
for
my place.
September.
Yes, that
So
would be
that's
a
something
Smithridge
that,
Road line.
we would just, in our proposal, say that our design excludes anything related to National Grid.
Okay.
Because there are some times where, you don't have a full-time town engineer, and we offer that, so I'll
Get
use
a
Ryan.
part-time one, too.
So
So you don't have to pay me to do it, it doesn't like miss any.
John, did you
So
make-
Catherine, you'll have
did you
a
make it-
proposal with a number in it
Yes.
for our next meeting?
Yes, so that is
And
gonna be.
then we can take action on that to advance the project.
Yeah, and then, again, the design for the road part is not too much. Detail's pretty much there, we're at about 80% for that. We kind of took the dam design to a really good point, but there is, and a lot of it's permitting with PEC.
Yeah.
This is stuff we do all the time. But yeah, I do really appreciate you committing to that. I do a lot of cases with municipalities, and I understand funding's an issue, and I'm not, trying to make light of some municipalities.
She said we got it.
A lot of municipalities will get to this point and get it and get scared. And I go, you've already invested $90,000 in engineering and survey. So, I'm glad that you understand that. We all know this needs to happen.
And in 5 years, I think that number's gonna be double.
So we're moving forward, right?
John made a motion.
Yeah, I made that motion.
I'll second.
Let's continue
Yep,
this.
so again, I'll provide you a proposal.
Say your motion again, John.
Make a motion, we continue with the design phase of it and work on Saratoga.
Have a second?
I did. I seconded it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Right.
Thank you,
You're
Catherine.
welcome.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you.
And again, if anyone needs any printed report, give me a shout or just tell me how many to send up to Susan and I'll get that
I
done.
need one.
Our counselor's here, you want to go back to 248 Ruggles Road?
That's next.
You know why, Boris?
Couple times I must have widened it for you.
Hey, aim for the poles next time.
I know the fire department will be happy about it.
It'll save us all heartburn,
All I
right?
need is to have the wing up on the plow when you go through there.
Item 7, right?
How many is there? 3 or 4?
There's 3 and then a 4th as you go over to
so-
the side. You gotta hit 3 and then take a break and hit
I
another.
would think underground utilities are more efficient for national grid.
You got too many things buried there.
Well, I also don't want an electrical line running through.
You got water lines, you got dams, you got...
I was being selfish.
Deals.
We left the public hearing open because we haven't received a power of attorney, and Ray had a question, so we were kind of like, about
Item
the
7.
power of attorney and who it's for, and so we left it open.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? So but like I said, we don't have any
You want
documentation
to
yet.
fill them in, Mark?
So Shannon Thompson is Betty Jo Brooks, who's the wife of the deceased owner of the home. She's in a nursing home, and Shannon Thompson has power of attorney. My discussion with her was trying to get her here with the power of attorney so that we could move forward.
And just to make sure I understand, she's got the power of attorney for the widow. Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Was unable to do that. I don't know what's going on, whether she just can't make the meeting because of work or whatever. So I asked her to send the power of attorney.
So we know if the widow has title to the property?
I don't believe she does.
No.
I
So
don't believe,
that was my question
I don't
before.
believe when
Yeah.
her, in talking to Shannon, when her husband died, she never went to probate and changed the title, or went to the county and changed the title for her.
Whose name's the property in right now, do you know that?
His,
And did the owner die intestate?
So presumably, or I'm guessing by operation of law, the transfer could be effectuated, but it has to be effectuated. We don't,
Right.
it's not a town responsibility, obviously.
We did find Mr. Brooks' brother, correct, Mark? Is that the one that I originally found?
Michael Brooks.
Yes.
He's the one who told us that Shannon had power.
Okay.
But over the mom, but the dad was the sole owner of the property, so that really doesn't get us far yet.
It complicates things.
Were there any children? Do you know? Okay.
Somebody paying taxes?
So we just let it ride for now, right?
Yes.
keep the public hearing
More
open.
documentation is supposedly on the way.
If we need any more
We'll keep it open.
Yeah.
Just keep it open for 30 more days.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we're back.
So there's going to be no action on the...
7, right.
Remains open, all right?
No peddling either.
Peddling and soliciting we permit instead of public hearings. Everybody give it some thought.
So I sent everyone a copy of the old local law. I don't know if anybody had a chance to mark something up, to come up with some new wording for the new local law.
We had talked about not allowing the permit to allow people to go on residents' private we're essentially giving companies permission to go on residents' private property. Why are we revisiting this again?
You know, back when the Fuller Brush Company and lots of other companies only had one way to get business, and that was door-to-door sales, I can understand the Supreme Court back then for both religious organizations and businesses saying that it was a First Amendment right to be able to go up to a private property owner's home and ring the doorbell, knock on the door, and solicit business. But in today's world, and when I saw this on the agenda, television, radio, direct mail, social media, podcasts, billboards, websites, email, local events, community involvement are just a half a dozen of the ways that you can ask people for their business. There is absolutely, in my opinion, no reason to give somebody a permit to walk up to your front door, your front door, your front door, or my front door, and ring my doorbell and bang on my door to sell me a product or a service. If it was me, I'd pass a local law that says that door-to-door solicitation in the town of Wilton is not permitted.
I agree with you. I've had the same guy come to my door like 6 different times on this electronic
Oh, I'm looking at
skateboard.
that. The only reason was what happened on
Yes.
Correct.
Washburn Road. There's all the state blacktoppers went up there and they conned 3 people.
Mark, can we do
They
that?
got
Can we
lucky and they
prohibit?
canceled.
Absolutely not.
I did not think so.
I've been willing to test this in the
Did you need
Supreme
time to
Court.
think about that?
Let's do it.
But if
I'll go with you, Washington. While they argue the case.
Please do.
if it's people conning people, they're not gonna come for a permit first anyway.
Exactly.
They're just gonna go screw people over.
So they're saying...
They're not gonna come give us their name
It's a
first.
First Amendment right to be allowed to walk and knock
Yeah,
on
and when was
someone's...
And we can put
decision
up no
rendered?
soliciting signs on your house, we
Yeah.
talked about.
That's a decision
So when
50 years ago.
vacuum cleaners were being sold door to door,
Yeah.
back in your...
Encyclopedias.
So what's your feeling?
There's an
You wanna do
episode of Friends.
anything? Do away with it all?
Nothing's happening.
Sales calls?
I saw that.
I don't want to rehash anything on this. I just...
So,
Forget
okay,
it?
just one other
Forget it?
example. So, I was at Saratoga National Bank in its infancy, from the day we opened up the doors, okay? We built it from nothing
Were they
to a multi-billion-dollar institution. Do you know how many doors we knocked on in people's neighborhoods to build that bank? 0. Because we had all these other tools,
There's all those free gifts you gave away.
How many...
Yeah.
Toasters, microwaves.
How many permits are pulled in the town
Blenders.
of Wilton every year?
I remember that. I was little, but I do
Issue
remember
for
that.
solicitation.
We were doing one for a pesticide company.
Oh, that kid was at my door.
Yes.
Yeah,
They're in our neighborhood like every
I think I still
weekend.
have his number.
That was, there was another one, he was selling
They
books,
were on the 4th of July,
but usually only a couple.
my house,
And they give us the license.
So, I
on
mean,
the 4th of July.
it's easy to just say, lose my name. No,
So we're gonna move on to number 9,
I don't have that problem where I
the
live.
concession trailer
Way back there.
bid award. You all looked at it?
So Legacy Brothers was $83,286.80.
83,000.
Yeah.
Phoenix Contracting, Inc. was $74,299. And East Coast Concession Trailers was $45,200.
That's the one.
Who is going, where's this gonna be and who's managing it?
Gavin Park, original thing we were gonna do, they asked to have that one replaced, we're gonna stick build one, and then Scott come up with this, which I think is a good thing. This way we won't have to put a septic system in, won't have to do wiring.
So this will replace the baseball
Right.
concession
And they
stand
will-
that's in the shed.
Right, they will,
And they will be
they
maintaining
will
this?
we will make some type of agreement, lease it to them, so we aren't liable. We will come up with some plans, you know, we have a lot of,
So I was
Depending on who's
wondering
using it.
who's-
tournaments here, somebody can raise some money.
And then that's what, that was part of my question. Will it be the park who will lease it out? Is it the town who will lease it out?
It's the town.
The town.
Town.
We'll lease it out.
It's not just for baseball, correct?
Yeah, sure. Like any
We'll
of
come up with a plan, and I think it's a great thing myself.
Like Wednesday night concerts.
And-
all that
Right,
stuff.
right, and you can do the cooking,
I can.
right? Okay.
Good thing you're fine.
45,000, I'll
Yeah.
buy a bunch of hot dogs.
Put that in the minutes.
Well, will there be
He's gonna
propane?
cook.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's gonna be propane, but
And
we don't
Scott,
have to have
and
water?
Scott went over the bids.
There will be water.
No, there's water there with it. And Scott went all through the bids, he said everything's in
A
order.
holding tank, or
Holding tank.
Right.
Okay, okay.
do we have a motion for the East Coast bid or not?
Somebody wanna make a
And that's
motion to?
exactly the
That was the
number
low
I
bid,
had
correct?
looked at.
That was the low bidder?
Yes, it is.
I'll make that
By almost half.
Yeah,
Well,
It has everything we need?
but it was everything that,
correct,
yeah, it was apples to apples.
yes.
Okay.
So, and that's the one I looked at. It was about, I think the one I looked up was 48,000.
It looked more like what I envisioned, that one. But
Somebody wanna make a motion to
I'll make the
go a
motion.
little bidder?
I'm in a hurry.
The motion.
You got a second?
Yes, right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Committee reports. I just want to thank Scott and Roy with our building department, all the work they're doing out maintenance department. And the Larry Gordon building, he's doing, y'all got pictures, he's doing a very, very nice job.
An internet and phone services up at the visitor center.
Right.
So that's all taken.
Oh, yay.
It's up and running now?
Yep.
Awesome.
Exit 16 has been surveyed, the bridge work.
Yeah,
I found out a friend of mine's gonna be working on it, so I texted him last week for updates and I've not heard back. But Ryan, these guys saw the surveyors out there, so Ryan was able to catch up and kind of see what was happening.
You said 16.
Exit 16.
Oh, God.
I was at a chamber event, someone mentioned the D. Collins skit. Okay,
They're just starting surveying.
okay, that's what I
He's
thought.
working on it.
I thought that seemed premature.
Yeah.
He's one of the designs.
They love
He
it,
was like,
but, yeah.
listen,
Oh, yeah.
don't come to me about it.
They'll have the lowest cost to mobilize,
You will
do
be
the
my
work.
contact.
The Northern Pines Road fishing station, it was just earlier today that we got the information from the LA group. So it's not on the agenda, but Ryan, why don't you fill everybody in?
So we just received all the bid documents that we asked the LA Group to provide to us. They filled them out. There's a few things that we needed to provide to them as far as dates, insurance, that stuff. But as far as the schedule, if the board so chooses to go out to bid, we would send this out to bid on August 20th, I believe, for the fishing pier. And it was planned that the highway department would do the other groundwork, paving, parking lot, and we talked about that. So if the board wants to move forward, set a motion for it to go out to bid. And we'll set it out to bid, hopefully get bids back for October meeting.
So maybe September 29th, it's a Monday.
September 20...
Ninth.
The Thursday, the 25th. That'll give us a week.
20, what am I looking at?
Give you a week to look at
Okay.
bids.
Right. We received the bids on September 20th.
25th? Okay.
So it's okay for us to make that motion without it on the agenda? I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Sorry, Ray, I should let you do it.
That's all right. Nice to know you're on the team.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody got anything else?
Yep. Two things. I wasn't here last month, so I wasn't able to thank Nancy for her great work at Community Day. I think it was a hit. If you weren't there, it was definitely a good turnout, and everybody had a good time. Second thing, so the hamlet on Route 9, I spent a lot of time with a committee, worked on what we would like to see under these apartment buildings. We wanted retail space. Somehow the new proposal that they're putting the apartments in across the way found a loophole in our very hard work and was able to put doctor's offices back under them apartments again. So I really want to think hard about removing the hamlet, the last one in our town, and just abolish the whole thing. I don't think it's fair that we made other people abide by the rules, and he came in and found some loophole and got our planning board to agree with him and not put the retail that we designed. That's what the elected officials designed it, to have retail space under these apartments. And if he's not gonna have to comply to them rules, nobody should have to comply to them. And I'd just like to just think about it this month, but I'd like to abolish that hamlet and have no more hamlets in the town of Wilton.
The only pushback I have is that the hamlet requires the connection of all the sidewalks. I agree, and I think it's...
Get rid of them all.
I think we have to discuss the role of the planning board in most of those, all of those decisions, frankly. But I don't want to abolish the hamlet and now not have that connectivity that we've been waiting for.
We did it up north on Ballard Road with no problem.
That should have never been a hamlet up there.
Input you gave me.
But they got sidewalks to nowhere.
How you feel.
Yeah, that shouldn't have been a hamlet up there. But
We're talking about probably two parcels left in the hamlet zone.
That's what I was told 5 years ago.
3.
Correct, and they're the same.
No, I was told there was none, and then they just keep...
This project has been in effect on the board for at least 3 or 4 years now. So, that being said, I also think that you almost have to go back to, if you're going to do away with the hamlet completely, I almost think you need to go back to the comprehensive plan and look at that, because it's detailed out in the comprehensive plan.
Yep, I'll form that committee to do that as well, but I just don't think it's right that...
No, you're right.
That this, we had one put in...
It's not doctor's offices either. It's my understanding that they're medical use, they're medical type retailers going in there.
Well, maybe so. That was not our vision.
And I'm not disagreeing about the special use permits. I have expressed my concern about those. But I think we need, while we might gripe at that, we need to look at the big picture of that area, why it was designed to be a hamlet. That Northern Pines one should have never been a hamlet. But that area, you finally see people are walking up and down Route 9. They are using the crosswalks. I see people there almost every time now. And I think we'd be remiss to not take that sidewalk from CVS and ask Dunkin' Donuts to put it in, and to kind of keep bringing it down on that side of the roads, that people who are working, because these medical buildings are going to have a lot of employees there, allow them to keep moving up and down Route 9 safely off the shoulder of the road.
How do we close this loophole that they keep finding so that...
Well, frankly,
I don't think it was a loophole. I just think they
planning board
gave
could have said
in.
no.
I just think they gave in.
Well, it was a special use permit. It was restricted based on the square
We had the
footage.
square footage restriction, and they found a way around it to do exactly what we didn't want them to do.
Yeah, and there was a sentence in there, if they wanted to, they could do through the...
So how do we get that out of it? Can we legally remove that?
Well, you
Well, not now.
get rid of the special use permit.
Right, just force them to have smaller, it was a square footage requirement.
I attend these meetings quite often, and what bothers me is the person building the facilities and everything, because when the initial one, they rented it all to Saratoga Hospital, and the small business guy couldn't get in. So we formed a committee.
You're
we
talking
said-
about the one, the Gordon.
The original one, right.
Where they packed the town hall and didn't want it, and they still
So-
allowed it to go through.
I go to these meetings, and the contractor goes, well, no one wants to rent these because of this or that. Well, you knew before you proposed this project what our rules and regulations are. If you can't rent these and you don't
build
you need to bypass.
Should have had them rented, they should have had them rented before they bought them.
Right, then don't
Agreements.
build here.
And their price was...
That's my feeling. I'm sorry,
But they found the loophole.
we have enough big projects and enough big buildings in our area that, you know, if you're coming into the town of Wilton, and you know these are our regulations, and you know you have this much space to rent, don't come up and say, I can't rent it.
Well, he can't,
Well,
because he wants to-
because you're charging up fee to...
$50,000.
$50,000 to fit the, upset, or whatever you want to call it, to build it. The contractor's not
Price per
paying for
square
the construction to make that business a business.
His intentions were never
So,
to,
I mean, I'm sorry, I might be, and I'm pretty sure a lot of town of Wilton residents would back me up on it. If you can't comply to what we have set forth,
They did.
don't build here.
they found the loophole. So how do we close the loophole? That's the
Right.
issue.
Could delete that.
Because, you know, the guy across the street who did comply with
Yes,
it.
he did.
Now, does that mean he can say, okay, well, I don't need the barber shop anymore, I don't need this other shop, I'm going to do what they did across the road? And it's just, when does it end?
He
So
never
how do we
came in
close
that.
the loophole?
Right,
No,
he never-
because he
He complied.
complied. This guy here, you ask him for a turn lane, no, it's not gonna be feasible. Well, you know what? I don't care what's feasible, what's not feasible. There should have been a left turn lane going into Dunkin' Donuts and CVS,
Well,
instead of a
that's
right
the
turn
state.
onto Daniels.
That's the
You
state.
changed the code to...
No, that was them. They didn't want to pay it.
Yeah, the state wouldn't allow it either, though.
Can just force them to have the, you know, square footage.
So, and I believe there's 2 personally owned properties.
They combine them.
Available. There's Neville's that's still available, and then there's that parcel that goes in behind the CVS. is still-
Pizza Time's available.
All
There-
together.
you got
So we
all
still
of
have a
that.
lot
There's
of
a ton of
parcels
places. It ain't just
in
2,
Hampton.
trust
Well,
me.
stuff that can come down.
It's 2 right now, but when they combine them all, then it's 10.
Right.
So we need to close that loophole or close the hamlet. I don't care which one. I just assume abolish the whole thing. I'm so aggravated with the outcome of that I just take the sidewalk down for all I give a. You want the sidewalks, go to Saratoga.
Well,
There-
the
there's
thing
a
is,
lot
we
of
were
them.
talking about pedestrian safety, you know, had this long discussion about spending a couple $1 million
Yeah.
Yeah.
on Smithbridge Road. Route 9, you don't want people walking in there.
Well, most
No,
most
I mean,
people
I
don't
would
walk on Route 9.
No.
Most people don't walk on.
But the more that businesses and residential use becomes, you know, like with the Northern New York project and others that might come along, people will be walking.
I know 3 people that got clipped on Route 9, so yeah.
The whole design and the whole idea of this was to give people a place to walk to, small cafes,
Right.
small sub shops and stuff like that. And all we're giving them is urgent care officers, foot doctors and all this. Doctors and all this stuff that was supposed to be in the big building, now some of it's transitioned over to the
Correct.
residential.
I just want the loopholes closed.
Yeah.
So that way there, when somebody comes in and says, well, we found this, we tried for a year to rent it, we couldn't do it. Well, yeah, if you want somebody to spend $100,000 on your building to rent your space, of course you're not gonna find anybody to rent it. It's not gonna happen. So we need to close them loopholes, so I don't know if that requires a committee or just a,
It's going to be just a relatively simple change in the code.
We'll have to look at it and see what
Yeah.
exactly it says and how it would apply.
Yeah, and we can put it on the agenda for the next town board meeting.
Absolutely.
You have to have a public hearing, yeah.
Yeah.
That same project pushed the envelope with the county too,
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
IDA. They have been that way the entire time with every board. They were pinning the planning board against the IDA.
oh, that
Luckily,
name came up a lot of
Happened to be a
times.
part of this town and knew that.
When he was-
So it's,
During that
I don't
meeting about
want
the
one
turn lane.
person to ruin
No, I get it.
trying to
But
like
during
squeeze
that
through every
meeting we
loophole
had,
to ruin what, that area
John and
could
I
be
sat in a
great.
meeting.
That
We
area
sat in a
could be
meeting
great.
about a turn lane going into, and oh no, that would be way too much on me to I'd have to squash this project and give it, it's like, okay, well, you're not hurting my feelings if you want to squash it. I could care less. If it means that there's safety involved, then why wouldn't you put a turn lane there? Instead, he gives us a right turn lane on Daniels Road. That should have been put in when Cumberland Farms was put up.
The state would not. We did. I was on the planning board at the time, and that's why everything is
So
pushed
how is the
back, because we had to
state-
land bank that turn so that one day it would
How are
go
they doing
in.
it now?
But the state would not allow Cumberland Farms to put that turn in.
How are they?
We're forcing it, but the state is arguing it significantly.
That's why they didn't put it in when they just paved it.
Yeah, we're trying.
Same thing, we could get a green arrow to go into Duncan, and they won't put up a green arrow
Right.
for northbound.
All I know is
Which
I
would
was
take care of that
pretty
whole
heated
issue.
when I found out that they found this loophole, and I thought we sealed it all up, but apparently I was wrong. So,
Now, do we need a public hearing, you said, or we?
well, that'll be next
Well, we
month.
need a draft change in the ordinance first. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll get the proposed change language next month and set a public hearing for the month thereafter.
That's good. Thank you, Your Honor.
To keep it from happening in the future. Nothing we can do about it.
We can't change what's happening. We can change.
I had something on the agenda, and I don't know why I had to take it off, but I got a lot of phone calls in the last couple of months that Parkhurst and Wilton Greenfield Road for a stop sign. And I was gonna, I guess why I didn't put it on, because then I realized it's a county
I
road.
said no. I think we asked for that not too
I
long
thought we
ago.
went with a four-way there, right?
I thought it was something.
Yeah, but it is a county road.
So I called up Chad Cook, and he said, just send him a memo to take care of it. I said, Chad, we've done this before, and I don't care how many accidents they've had in the past, we don't want one tomorrow. That's the purpose of it.
I don't think it's
Was
ever
there-
been a four-way.
Was it a complaint
Somebody make
about
a
the
motion, we
tractor-trailers?
send Chad Cook a
brakes?
memo.
I'll make that motion.
Wasn't that
Second.
at that intersection?
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
But wasn't it, didn't something change about that intersection, or was it brought up about the brakes of the tractor trailers?
He did a,
And I also asked him to put more warning tape or something on those before you come. It said you're approaching stop sign. He said,
Yeah.
put something.
But there was something,
I understand that.
yeah. Because they like decelerate.
There's truck.
Like that
truck
noise
route?
that they make. I think it was,
And you know, we've been battling with Mount McGregor Road. A couple months ago, Steve Porto called me how bad it was, and I called Kerry Warner, see if the state DOT would go up and do some patching, and they don't own the road. I said, well, whatever. So I took a ride up there maybe 3 weeks ago. I can't believe how bad that road is, so I called Chad Cook and asked him if he would go up and just do some patchwork to make it a little safer. He said he'd be more than happy to, but you have to talk to Steve Bolger. I said, thank you. So they had a meeting that afternoon with the county attorney. We really can't, do it, but for us. But they made an agreement, they're gonna send a letter to the state that the county would go up there and repair all the holes, cut the grass, one-time deal, at no cost to the state. So we're gonna send them a letter. Steve sees the guy from the governor's office at the fair and explained it all to him. And, I don't know what happened, they won't get something done, so we had a conference call, and I was told right off the bat, we own the road, but they went from 2.8 million, I don't know if I brought this up before, now they're up to 4 million, and the reason why I guess they don't want to let the county go there because they're trying to get a grant from somebody in the state for, I think, 5-6 million. I've had so many phone calls, so many meetings with them, so if I miss something, Ryan, let
I
me.
don't remember the 5 to 6 one, but I remember we were up to 4.
No, but they're trying to get a grant for 5 or 6 million.
County?
But they did admit,
Oh.
but I said, well, why are you getting a grant to fix our road? If you can't spend money on our road, and why do you pay us to plow it if... But now they admit, after the houses, they own that.
That's where it's bad.
Well, it's before.
Well, I mean, it's before that it's bad, but it's really bad after it.
So we're gonna have another phone call shortly.
Yeah, I can't even miss them with my golf
Federal
carts.
landmark?
But the county was gonna do it for nothing, and they balked at it.
It's a mess.
Somebody wanna make a motion, go in executive session, personal issues?
No, we gotta read that. I don't know what to do with it.
Go ahead.
Make that motion.
Make this motion?
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
The medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. That's why we're going in.
Yes.
I'll make the motion to go into executive session.
And I'd like to have our secretary Nancy Riley and Maria Moran in the meeting with our attorney.
No cigarette breaks either.
That's why I can't go to dinner.
Nice knowing you.
I didn't want to.
So I make a motion, we go back into session,
Second.
that there's no action taken as a result of the
Executive session.
executive session.
We got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Who seconded that?
I did.
I had more action taken in my own executive session.
Maria, would you do your controller's report,
Yes,
please?
thank you. So the first category is our 2025 budget transfers, and the first item there is moving money out of the contingent account to cover the additional expense that we have for the Scout Road Visitor Center for internet and phone service for the rest of the year. The second item in this category is taking money out of our cemeteries for the equipment and capital outlay, which is a .2 object code, and moving it in the same department to the .4 object code for repairs and maintenance. It's just a reclass. At the beginning of the year, when the budget was crafted, there was $5,000 budgeted for capital expenditures that are not going to be needed, so we do need money for repairs and maintenance in that same department. So that's the reason for that. And along the same lines, item 3, we had budgeted for highway machinery to the tune of about $40,000 in the budget for, capital outlays, but actually that money needs to be used for repairs and maintenance. It's for the same item. It was for the rear mower of a piece of equipment that it seemed like it was going to be a new piece of equipment, but really it's to repair an existing piece of equipment, so.
Guess the park tractor sounds cheap.
31,000 for repair.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget transfers.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you. So the 2025 budget amendments is the next category, and the first item under that is I am moving money from, or I'm requesting the board moves money from building and alteration permits commercial revenue that has already exceeded what was budgeted from the beginning of the year to cover the cost of, and actually, you know what, why don't we skip over this one because we'll go into the next section, which is personnel. So if the board agrees to that, then we can come back to discuss the money. So the second item is the use of revenue from the same source, which is building and alteration permits commercial, to cover a $2,000 estimate for repair to the 2018 Silverado. The third item here is to leverage additional interest and earnings that we've earned from the beginning of the year to purchase a copier to replace the mailroom copier, which is 10 years old, has over 1 million copies on it. So we would like to replace that copier with a newer item before we have problems and can no longer use that copier. And if you have any questions about the copier, Colette is here to answer any questions if you have any about that copier.
Thank you.
Oh, that was
Can we make it to 2 million?
No, I don't think so.
Fourth and fifth and sixth items are all related in that I would like to take monies that are already included in capital projects that are no longer going to be used, such as the town hall expansion and the port building. So actually, on item 5, where it says Fund 448, that should be court building. So this is cash that is in both of those capital projects funds that I would like to move to the general fund so that we can decrease our reliance on sales tax in the general fund, because our reliance on sales tax is not going to be very successful this year. We're going to have to start conserving and possibly even requesting that we decrease some expenditures.
short sales tax are down.
Really?
Sales tax is down. The comptroller's report did say sales tax is up. However, for the town, our sales tax has been down. So we are not down in a terrible way, but I just want to be very careful that we don't, especially in light of the projects that we're doing. These are necessary projects, so we want to make sure that where we can save some money, we do. So.
People buying on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Wayfair decision that happened in, the late, maybe 2016, 2015, whatever it was, made it so that internet sales, the sales tax related to that does not come back to the towns in which the sales originate the way it does if you're actually at a physical brick and mortar. So, and we don't even know the rhyme or reason of how that sales tax moves through the states and the counties.
Stays down in the boroughs.
I thought that got changed.
No. No.
No, that sales tax generated from internet sales is guided by the Wayfair decision.
Oh, it's that? I was under the same impression.
I look.
Guess I can't go to Amazon anymore.
So those are the budget amendments.
So somebody ought to make budget, that's 2 through 6.
I'll make the motion 2 through 6.
I will second that.
Favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Personnel is our next category, and the first item is that the board is requested to ratify the decision to hire Mr. Timothy Case, who replaces the recreation maintenance position that was vacated by Kurt Haas in this past July. Mr. Case's hire date was August 4th, 2025, and his rate of pay is $20.23 an hour.
I'm gonna make a motion.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you. Jean Tranchina, who is the part-time clerk in the town clerk's office, has resigned from her position effective July 15th, 2025.
Motion to accept the resignation.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried.
Did you second that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sue Baldwin, our town clerk, is requesting to attend the regional meeting of the New York State Town Clerks Association in Alexandria Bay, New York, on September 21st and 22nd of 2025. The meeting involves overnight travel and requires board approval.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you. Mike Monroe, our highway superintendent, is requesting to attend the New York State Association of Town Superintendents of Highways annual conference from September 23rd to the 26th of 2025. The conference is in Niagara Falls. It involves overnight travel and requires board approval.
So moved.
Second? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you. Marcus Hart is currently an assistant building inspector. He passed the building inspector exam in 2019. Mark Mikens, our senior building inspector, is requesting that Marcus's title be changed to building inspector with a pay increase from $30.52 to $33 an hour. Saratoga County will simply require a letter from the town requesting that Marcus be placed in the building inspector title due to civil service rules as a direct line promotion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried.
Thank you. And because the pay differential between our current building inspector and Marcus Hart's new rate of pay is just a few pennies, Mark Mikens is requesting a pay increase for John Hurley as well, from $33.06 to $36.06 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you. Lori Olson, who's our secretary to the highway superintendent, is actually retiring effective August 29th, and the board is requesting to accept Lori's retirement.
With regret, I will
Absolutely.
accept.
Thank you for your time, Lori.
She did a great job, great employee.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you. And lastly, under personnel, the board is requested to ratify the decision to hire Henry Zerener as senior clerk at the rate of pay of $21.80 an hour. Henry's first day of work was July 15th, 2025.
I didn't know there was a new Henry in there.
Yeah.
Where's he working?
He's building the building.
He is a good guy, and he's a worker.
Oh, senior, I thought it was in Sue's office. Gotcha, your office. All right, I'll make that motion.
Jeez, Mark, you're making up
Second.
tonight.
I know.
Second.
He's gonna take tomorrow
We
off.
have a second.
John had a second.
All in favor?
Right.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you. Our fourth category is asset
Where's Mark's raise?
position. He's
He's
getting
leaving.
big,
He get raised right out the door.
He's been overpaid for years.
That's right.
Dwayne.
I'll make a motion for a pay reduction.
Oh, we did that earlier.
I'll second that.
Tough crowd here.
Let's get back to business.
No respect.
our fourth category is asset
You already did, you just said leave.
Mike Monroe is our highway superintendent. He'd like to sell a pile of wood chips, logs, and the spoils pile consisting of asphalt, concrete, and brush on Auctions International.
Someone really buys that stuff?
I
Yeah?
was wondering about
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. I'll make the motion.
Amazing.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you. And lastly, under asset disposition, Ross McNeil, who's our recreation director, would like to place 3 machines with pitching arms and ball feeders on Auctions International.
You know, they're the ones that brought up were given to us, but they're not, well,
I know.
we
do you
can't
need?
use them. And the guy who gave them to us said, do whatever you want. If you want to sell them and keep the money, you're welcome to do that.
Okay.
That's
I
what
need one of those in my house.
Make a motion to sell that stuff.
I got the
I'll
last
second.
one.
in favor? Opposed, carried.
I have one more item that we didn't discuss.
Yeah, go back.
Forgetting about, so our financial statements that we talked about last month, we never had a board motion or resolution to accept the financial statements for 2024. So we know all about the financial statements. We know that they're unmodified opinion. So the board is just requested to formally approve.
And as much as they represent fairly the financial condition of the town of Wilton, I will make that motion.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
You gonna bring up?
Wait, we have to go back.
You gonna go to budget 1?
Yes, thank you.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
So the
Yeah.
budget amendments, item 1 in the budget amendments, because we already approved the pay increase for Marcus Hart and John Herlihy, the impact on the budget will be $4,400 from the payroll that begins on Tuesday through the rest of the year. And we're going to utilize additional revenue from the buildings and alteration permits, commercial, fund that.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, sorry I kept you so late.
This is my normal working day.
Anybody in favor?
All in favor?
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all for going in executive session and listening.
She is Mrs. Xerox.
Any questions about the